The little bird and the big wind. In a green and peaceful tropical forest, birds chirped every morning. The sun shone through the leaves, and a small river flowed clear. There lived a tiny bird with bright blue feathers. Its body was small, its wings were not as long as other birds, and its voice was often drowned out by the louder birds. His name was Lilo, a shy little bird. He often sat on low branches, watching the other birds fly majestically. Eagles could fly high through the clouds, hawks could swoop down quickly to catch fish, and even parrots were good at imitating human voices. "I have no special talents," Lilo muttered. "I'm too small. I'll never be able to do great things like them." Every time his friends practiced flying high, Lilo just watched from a distance. He was afraid his wings weren't strong enough. In his little heart, he always felt useless. That day, a storm came. One afternoon, the sky turned cloudy. Dark clouds gathered, and thunder rumbled. The wind blew harder and harder. Leaves flew, branches broke, and all the animals hurried to find a safe place. "Quick, everyone hide in your nests," shouted a deer. Lilo trembled with fear. She took shelter behind a large tree trunk, trying to protect her small body from the howling wind. However, amid the noise of the storm, a weak voice called out, "Help! Help me!" Lilo sharpened her hearing. The voice came from the top of a swaying tree. She looked up, and her eyes widened. A baby squirrel was trapped on a branch that was about to break. The little squirrel's body was hanging, clinging to a piece of fragile wood. "If that branch breaks, I'll fall," cried the little squirrel. The other larger animals could only look on anxiously from below. They were afraid to climb because the tree trunk was slippery from the rain. No one dared to approach because the wind was getting stronger. Lilo hesitated. The little bird looked at the squirrel with a trembling heart. He wanted to help, but a voice inside him said, "You're small, Lilo. Your wings are weak. What if you get carried away by the wind? You won't be able to save him." Lilo looked down, almost believing the voice. However, she saw the fear in the baby squirrel's eyes. No one else was coming to help. "If I don't try, who else will?" thought Lilo. She took a deep breath, flapped her tiny wings, and flew into the wind. Her wings were almost blown away, but she kept trying to get closer to the branch where the squirrel was hanging. The struggle against the wind, Lilo landed on a branch near the squirrel. "Hold on to my tail, I'll help you down," she shouted loudly so she could be heard in the storm. The little squirrel looked at her doubtfully. You're too small. You won't be strong enough." Lilo looked at him steadily. "Trust me, I'll try my best. It's better to try than for us to both stay here." Finally, trembling, the squirrel bit Lilo's tail. At that moment, the wind blew very strongly. The branch broke and they both almost fell. With all her strength, Lilo flapped her wings. Her small wings fluttered violently. Her body swayed, but she did not give up. Little by little, she managed to lower the squirrel towards a sturdier tree trunk. "Hold on!" shouted Lilo. She dove, looking for a gap between the tree branches. The rain lashed her face. The wind pushed her sideways, but she kept trying. Finally, with great effort, she managed to bring the squirrel safely down to the ground. Cheers from the forests. All the animals who witnessed this cheered joyfully. Deer, rabbits, parrots, even the usually haughty eagles clapped their wings. "Lilo, you're amazing," shouted the rabbit. "Who would have thought that such a small body could have such a big heart?" said the deer in awe. The baby squirrel hugged Lilo and said, "Thank you. If it weren't for you, I might have been in trouble. Lilo's face turned red, not out of embarrassment, but out of happiness. For the first time, he felt that he mattered. He realized that size was not a barrier to doing great things. After the storm, the next day, the storm subsided. The forest was bright again, the sun shining on the trees. However, something had changed. The little bird no longer sat quietly on a low branch. He flew more confidently, sang more loudly, and always smiled when other animals greeted him. Every time an animal doubted itself, Lilo would always say, "Never underestimate yourself." Sometimes the small ones can do great things if they have the courage and a sincere heart. And that's the story of the little bird and the big wind. We learn that even though our bodies are small, a brave and kind heart can enable us to do extraordinary things. Thank you for listening to today's story with us at Cozy Story Club. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like it, leave a comment, and of course, subscribe to Cozy Story Club on YouTube so you don't miss out on the next exciting tale. See you in the next story.